Sif's blood. Barely survived that encounter. I'll bring you a new transmission. Vode An.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Vode An. Today we're on episode 13. We're on, episode 7 of Before the Dark Times? No, episode 8 actually.
Yeah.
Today we're reviewing Darkness, which is I don't know what number story arc this is, but it's issues 32 through 35 of Republic. And it's written by John Ostrander, illustrated by Jander Sema, the two legends.
There's also a third to last comic book arc.
Yep, they're the last, not counting Deveronian version.
Yeah, well, I mean that's not really an arc.
Yeah, which I don't know. Are we gonna read that?
Yeah, I'll mention last episode that we should read it because I mean it's half non-canon, but it is like there's some new canon bits in it.
All right, yeah, we'll probably do that. We'll do that next episode. With Sarkis Restore. But anyway, this is obviously a Quillen Voss stories on the cover, as you guys can see. It is continuing from the events of Infinity's End, sort of. I mean, it's mentioned, but the events in that book are not really in here. Anyway, so brief little summary here, and then we'll get into our thoughts here. Basically, there is a Ayla Secura. She escapes from Wirloth on this prison ship, and she's headed towards Kifix, which is one of the planets in the Kifar system, whatever. And it's like the prison world. It's basically where like the Kifar, they send like their prisoners to. It reminds me a lot of like Boggin from the Jedi Order. But anyway, Ayla, she crash lands on the planet on this prison ship, and she finds this like prison of this mysterious figure. We don't really know who it is yet. It was a Jedi of some kind. We know that just upon reading it. His name was Volfe Kraku. What is it again?
Volfe Karku.
It's Krakow.
Volfe Krakow. Okay. Anyway, Karko. Yeah, something like that. But on Coruscant, the Guardian leader, her name was Tinte, I think. She's of course part of Clan Voss, and she asked the Jedi for help because there's been like a massacre of Guardians, Kifar Guardians, and she asked for Quillen Voss's help. The Jedi are reluctant, but they agree to send him, feeling it might benefit him. When he gets there, he realizes these Guardians have been massacred by Inzadi, and which he ends up, because he has psychometry, he ends up like using psychometry and like some corpses, and he sees that they were killed by Inzadi. He then gets ambushed by Inzadi in real time, and he is saved by his former master Tholm. And is this his first appearance, or was he a Jedi Council Axel War? I don't remember. This
is Tholm's very first appearance.
Okay, because for some reason I felt like he was in Axel War, but he's not.
Mm-mm.
This is his first appearance, first time we get to meet him, and anyway, they fight off the Inzadi. They find Vili, who is because he's obviously getting into trouble. He's imprisoned here because he was doing like some blaster deals, selling blasters or whatever. He's sold. They find him. They escape, and they end up going to like this town. They get ambushed. Of course they survive, and Tholm ends up showing Quinlan like this old medallion of sorts, and Quinlan uses psychometry on it, and he ends up reliving his parents' death, who were killed by the Inzadi, which is why he has because he had a really big reaction to seeing the Inzadi, when he was ambushed by Anzadi, he had like a really big reaction to it. So, but we end up seeing that this was like a big fear of his, you know, the Anzadi, his parents' death, and all that. So they end up going to like this cantina. They find another Jedi there, and basically they escape. It's kind of a lot going on here. They end up encountering Tra Sa, who was she's like the Jedi watchman of that sector, and they didn't go and confront. I'm skipping over a bunch of stuff now because I want to get into the review here. But they didn't go and confront Volfe. Ayla has been corrupted by him. Quinlan, she redeems Ayla. He kills with the help of the other Jedi. He kills Volfe. And at the end of the comic, Ayla is then going to go back to Coruscant to be retrained by Thulm, while Quinlan's going to go off with Villy kind of on his own, sort of doing like, you know, contemplating himself and whatever. So, but that's basically the end of the story. So it's all about, as the title suggests, it's about darkness, but specifically not only Quinlan's darkness, but also Ayla's darkness. And which I think is really cool. So that's a really brief summary of the book. So Tidus, do you want to give your thoughts first?
Sure. Let me see. Because I wanted to write something about it because this is one of my favorite. I think it's my second favorite arc in the original series. But after rereading it, I enjoyed it a lot. But you know, it's the same thing I always say when we talk about these videos, that it never really hits hard the first time. And I kind of know some of the art where it's like, I think Dursema, her art looks very beautiful in itself. Like her figures, like the way the characters look, their expressions, I think she nails that. But for some reason in this comic, it kind of felt like the action and the paneling was not that great. It was kind of like it ranged in between like really fucking good on the last issue, but it's like the early stuff when it's like Quinlan and Thulm finding Anzadi or fighting some of those the spacers with the blasters. It's like it didn't really feel like put together. If that makes sense. Like it didn't really feel powerful.
Mm-hmm.
But aside from that, like it's the only like discredit could say about it, and it's like I think it was probably just like a matter of scheduling because the Darth Maul comic that she drew, it's beautiful. Like, the action in it is kinetic. It works. The paneling's not off. So maybe it's just like a slip on her end. But the writing is like where I think for Quinlan at least, this is like the arc where like he kind of becomes actually compelling. And not to say like, you know, he's not interesting beforehand, but I think that there's not really too much to go off of him from that very first arc. Because you do have his struggle with the dark side, right? That's piece A that you're given. Mm-hmm. And then now here you're given piece B, where it's like, you know, how does he tackle that? You know, what is the lever that saves him? And like how's it implemented in the story? And when I say lever, I mean like what is the thing that kind of like pulls him out of the dark side? What is the thing that solves his first problem? And I think it's funny that, you know, he's still fuzzy with his memories. He dismisses Jedi wisdom and words of advice given to him in the story. He kind of just scoffs at it. Mm-hmm. But he thinks that his own being of like, you know, I'm going to always teeter in the dark side, he thinks like a fixed position. He thinks that he will always kind of like be on the edge and like he can't truly be saved. But the irony of this is that he has a firm belief that Ayla can be saved in her darkness because he's walked the same path. And it's kind of like an inferiority complex where like he thinks only she can be saved from like a pitfall that like he was once in, you know? And the payoff to that, I think, comes back in Republic because, of course, it's kind of a spoiler, but I mean, like most people know it, you know, EU communities, like, you know, he does turn over to the dark side for a little bit, you know, officially. And it's like that's kind of like a big turning point. So all this is laying groundwork for something that's going to explode later on. And I think it's still very strong here, though. Even off that, I mean, it's a little bit vague, but it's pretty good so far. Like they nail like why does it matter? It's like Quinlan is not totally invested with being a Jedi. Like he doesn't really feel like he, at least belongs to the role, even with being like a Kafar. It's like he doesn't really feel like he belongs to his Kafar people. But it's like, despite the role that he is, that he doesn't really have much of a faith in, he does know the role between Master and Padawan, and he puts a faith in that, which is what he thinks why Ayla should come back. Also the finale where they what was it? I think it was getting consumed by darkness in like at the last moment. It's like the Jedi reached out to him with the Force, and they kind of like urged Shimon to kind of like push through it and enable him to fight. And this can just be like coincidence because I don't, maybe Ostrander wasn't making like a reference to it and like how it's worded, but it felt like the moment in Dark Empire when Leia reached out to Luke telepathically and kind of like woke him up out of like the trance he was in the dark side. Like that's kind of like what that moment struck me as. And if that is intentional, it's pretty cool then.
Yep.
But only real side note I have is that the Kafar Guardians, like the actual like Guardians, like not the Shayef, not Tente, but like I guess like Quinlan Voss's parents, they kind of reminded me of this other like gritty, culturally enclosed police force that Ostrander had written before Star Wars, which was the Thanagarian Wingmen in Hawkworld or Hawkman in DC. And it's like, I don't know, I guess it's like the design aesthetic, but also like the main characters. It's like Qatar Hall, Hawkman. He doesn't really feel like he belongs to the Thanagarians or Earth. Like he just kind of feels like he's somewhere caught in the middle. As the same thing with Quinlan with his identity, where it's like, sometimes he doesn't really feel like he fits in with the Jedi completely, and sometimes he doesn't really feel like he fits in with like the Kafar completely. So I think it was like interesting to see a little bit of that DNA from Ostrander's work to carry over into Star Wars.
Hell yeah.
But also the Jedi you mentioned earlier, Zhao, the guy in the cantina. I find
that funny looking Jedi.
Oh, dude, he looks hilarious. Like, but it's like he gives like, I don't know, because he gives like a cryptic wisdom, kind of like Empire Strikes Back Yoda, but it's not like stupid. It's like it kind of does make sense, and it's like, I don't know, he's not in the series a whole lot. I think he has like a total like 3 appearances. Like I think he does like appears 3 times, but he is a very fun character. Like I think like the archetype that he is, like he's very fun. Because I mean they're doing like a riff, not doing a riff on Yoda, but they are kind of doing like a riff of like a cryptic, old wise Jedi. And not to shit on TCW, but I think that this is kind of like a better case of doing it than Tara Sanube, the fucking old turtle guy from TCW.
Oh yeah,
him.
Because in my opinion, I don't think Tara Sanube, like he doesn't really. I mean, there's some stuff that's cool about him, but he doesn't really. He's not distinct to me. Like he doesn't have like a distinct personality as like the old wise Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I think that's like all I really feel about the story. To be honest, like it's just I just really just enjoyed how they paint the relationship. It's like. And it's like, I don't know, I guess like you're going to see how this escalates in the next arc with, well, I correct myself, 2 arcs over. What is it called? It's called,
Rite of Passage.
Rite of Passage. I always forget the name. Rite of Passage. It's like, that's when like this stuff right here towards the end, it escalates. And it's like, I don't know. Cause I mean, I was going to spoil it. Never mind. And
no spoilers.
Yeah, I'm not gonna spoil it. I had to hold my tongue on it because I was gonna say something about him being master and apprentice, but I'll just let y'all read that and see for yourself. But in short, I just really enjoyed the character writing here. The action was fun. But I don't know, it's just good to revisit this because like this is one of my favorites. But that's pretty much all I have to say on it.
You know, Titus, I just while you were talking, I flipped through right a passage just to look at the art, and I think what you were noticing is the lighting is different in this book.
Yeah.
It's not as faded in as it is. Not faded in. It's a lot more. It's a lot more hard in this book. It doesn't actually
Yeah.
it's not smoothed out. I don't know.
It's more gritty. Like that's also why I was saying with the Hawkman comparison because like the Ostrander Hawkman book was also kind of drawn the same way. That Dersima worked on that book. Like she drew a couple issues of Hawkman. It's like it was styled in the same way. It was kind of like gritty. It's not like clean. But I was more so just talking about like the poses and like some of the action scenes. It just kind of looks weird. It's like you'll have him kicking, but it's like the perspective isn't like it doesn't really convey like he's in the background or like he's like in front of the background. It kind of seems like he's like a sticker on a page, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to see the panel I'm talking about for yourself, like to kind of visualize it. But I just thought that some of the action, like some of her poses, just kind of looked wonky. But her figures, like the way that she draws the character expressions, like the close-ups, that's what I think she excels in.
I mean, yeah, she her artwork is it's very Star Warsy. I've always said that. It fits with the overall aesthetic of Star Wars. That's why I think she's the best, probably the best artist in Star Wars. But
I think Doug Wheatley beats her out, bro.
what book did you do?
Dark Times.
Oh, well, I haven't read that, so I can't.
I will say Doug Wheatley has a unique art style to his.
I mean,
wait,
Doug
Wheatley's
not as popular as Decima, but like I think like artistically, especially like capturing like how Star Wars looks, like Doug Wheatley does like a knockout job.
I think I've seen of his art, very distinct style. That's definitely one of those art styles I think of when I think of the EU is Doug Wheatley.
I mean, it's
some of his panels.
Man, his shit kicks ass. Like it's like the most photorealistic like I've seen Star Wars get is Doug Wheatley.
Mm-hmm.
Like aside from being like Alex Ross, he's the closest I've seen. It's like real life fucking Star Wars on the page.
Let's see. Oh shit! I see what you're talking about. Wait, he did I could have sort of seen this before. His art before.
It was in Purge. First Purge.
You said first Purge? Oh, the Purge comic.
The Purge comic book, yeah.
Yeah, his art is really good. For sure. It's almost like cover art.
Yeah. I mean, he's like Alex Ross. Like he was a painter. Doug Wheatley was a classically trained painter like Alex Ross, and like he came in the comic book. I mean, that's why his stuff like looks that way. Dersima, she's not a painter. She's more like she's a decades old veteran like comic book artist. Like that's why like her style, it looks realistic, it looks Star Warsy, but it also does look like a comic book.
Right. Yeah, I'm kind of looking at both right now, and Doug Wheatley's art, it feels very like artisty, if that makes sense. Yeah. But also the contrast, the image, the way he draws, it feels very soft.
Yeah.
Jan Dersima's art does feel very comic book. I mean, it feels like Star Wars, but it's very comic booky.
Yep. Well, my thoughts on it, on the book, I thought it was very, very good. It's a very character-driven book, which is good. I think character-driven stories are amazing. That's why I love New Jedi Order so much, because it's very character-driven. But obviously it's very much focused on Quillen Voss. The villain in this, Volfe, whatever the hell his name is, the Inzadi, he was badass. One of the better villains so far in the series. I think what I liked about him is his look. I mean, he looked menacing. He looked like he just looked badass. I don't know. I mean, he actually felt, and the fact that he's like now, they said that he was like a Jedi from long ago. Do you know how long ago they're talking about, Tidus?
They don't really give an estimate of like how long ago it was. I've seen some people speculate 300 years ago from like Phantom Menace or like this time period or like 100 years ago, but it's like we don't really know.
Because I was reading it, I was thinking maybe like probably way longer than that. I was thinking like maybe Old Republic era, but that I don't know. Like that would be maybe too long, I guess. But he was an old Jedi who fell to the dark side, and they locked him up in like this prison, and he they didn't want to kill him, but they locked him up in this prison to sort of remind him of his crimes and the things that he had done. But I thought he was really cool. So definitely a standout character for me. The Anzadi in general are standout. I think they're really cool. There's a bunch of feral Anzadi in this.
Yeah, the fucking
Fucking, like, vampire.
Feral.
I can't even say it. Like I was gonna say like the damn degenerate ones. It's like
Degenerate Anzadi.
I mean they literally had, like did devolve because like his aura is like his aura like made them like become primitive.
I don't know if
that's
this is
how evil he is.
intentional, but like feral Anzadi kind of remind me of classical depictions of vampires.
No, they kind of do.
Just like skinny, emaciated.
Not like Nosferatu, but they kind of do like
just like classic.
I don't remember like the name of them, but like I know you're talking about like the naked bipedal ones.
Naked bipedal, like skinny vampires. There is a name for them. I just can't think of it. But I mean, Volpe. I mean, I call him Volpe Karko because that's how like I've always heard the name pronounced. I watched all the first videos on him, so I mean, he's definitely like I agree with Lance. He's a standout. I also think like his whole old, I mean, Jedi versus Sith, like old versus new, like is an interesting dynamic.
What do you mean?
He's like an older, let's Sith from like an older generation, and then you have like this newer generation. Like Quinlan Voss is like the newer generation of Jedi, and I think it was interesting. I don't know if it was intentional, but
I don't think it was because like the age differences was never like really brought up.
Yeah, maybe it just pertains to Quinlan. Like it's his own. Like Volpe Karko is supposed to be this like representation of like his own demons made manifest.
Well, it's like they both kind of like began at similar points a little bit, where it's like Volpe, he was like a straight Jedi, and then he was tempted by like he was tempted by like the soup, like so he feasted. I assume that was his apprentice because if you look at the panel, like you see like a little like rat braid. I assumed that like we were just feasting his own like Padawan or something.
Yeah, I would assume that or some random person.
I mean, it could have been like a random Jedi, but like when he did that, it's like he gave in to his temptations and like he walked the line over to the dark side. And it's what's up?
What I do think is compelling is this dude like.
Well, I was trying to finish and like because I was trying to draw a comparison. Like you were talking about like you thought it was like a generational thing, but I think it's like someone that walked over into the dark side versus like someone who's still like walking the line, hasn't given in yet. I think that's really what their battle was. Like Quinlan, he was teetering on the edge of it, but it's like I was saying earlier, like the moment where like they all reach out to him is like the people surrounding him pulled him out of it. Like Volpe just gave into it. Like he never fought back. He just gave into like his own desire. So he was weak.
I guess what I was thinking of to add to that is this like Volpe Karku is Quinlan, if Quinlan had just given himself over. Granted, they're not the same species, but like Volpe Karko is what Quinlan could have been had he just like given himself over without any sort of resistance. Because he already had one foot in the door. I mean, all he had to do is just kick it down fully, but I mean he didn't give in. And he had his friends to back him up.
Yeah. I mean, it's just meant to be abstract. I mean, what you're saying is right.
I mean, I was thinking of a canon comic when I made that like distinction. It's the Darth Vader versus Darth Maul, where it's the two Siths from two different eras.
Well, then that's different circumstances.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like what you're saying. There's like an abstract parallel, isn't it? Because of course it's not about like the race. Like there are two different races. It's just they bear like a similar theme.
Yeah.
And I think like a story like that only really works with like a fallen Jedi. Like if you were to like say Volpe Krakow was like a Sith in the story, then the whole angle would not even work, because what if he didn't even begin as a Jedi? You know, like not every Sith is like some fallen Jedi.
I have to agree with that. I do agree with that. Like if he was just a full-on Sith, it wouldn't work. He kind of has to be like a fallen, like a Jedi turned Darksider.
Yeah, it is kind of like the whole Dark Jedi trope, but
it works for the story.
Hey, Dark Jedi are some of the coolest characters in Star Wars, so
They are. It's like with if Vode An was a Sith, like I don't think his relationship with Quinlan wouldn't have worked, because you have someone who, like, given how long, I guess I don't think we were given like an exact time frame. Like you guys were talking about that earlier. All we know is Vode An is from way back when, and like Sith way back when were just like a lot of them were raised into the Sith cult from like birth. So like this dude just could have been some like teenager baby indoctrinated by the Sith, and that just doesn't work for what the story is trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be like this Jedi turned like Darksider.
I mean, because there'd be no parallel.
Yeah, there would be, exactly.
Well, to continue with my thoughts, I think like I said, it's a very character driven book, and I really like that. I think Quinlan and Ayla has some really good stories. This is, like Tidus said, it's kind of where Quinlan really starts to kind of become who we know him to be, which I think is cool. Master of Tholm, I thought was awesome. I thought he was a badass character. Tarasa, I thought was cool because I never finished it, but I read most of Legacy, and she's in that book too. So I thought that was pretty cool. Is this her first appearance too?
Yeah, this is her first appearance too.
Yeah. So like I said, she ends up being a member of Luke's order, and I guess that'd be after his death, but it's still his the new Jedi order. But anyway, it'd be kind of cool though if I know a lot of people have like theorized that Quinlan may have joined Luke's order, and it'd be kind of cool if he did, because then he can re-meet. Well, this would have to be way before Legacy, of course, but if he met Trasa and Crook, and that'd be kind of cool.
That'd be cool, but the whole thing is that like I feel like his race, their age is kind of similar to humans. He just wouldn't. He wouldn't have lived that long.
I mean, Quinlan would be old. Because we don't really know his fate. Like we have a Star Wars Tales comic that came out before Republic ended, and it was a story where like Han was like, I think it was cornered in like some cantina or like a den, and like an old man Quinlan just saves Han, and then like he just tells him to go on for his day, and it's like he just forgets the encounter like really happened.
Damn,
that's
first I've heard it would be cool if he did join Luke's order, but I personally would not want that though, because it would kind of contradict the idea. And I mean, this already happened in both continuities now. Like, I really wish like the EU had kind of kept true to like, Luke was the last of the Jedi.
Yeah.
I'm not saying there couldn't be like former Jedi who lived, but I guess what I'm saying is I kind of wish Quinlan would, maybe the way he ends, he just he ends the rest of his days kind of, I don't want to say as a hermit, but as a family man, not really as a Jedi.
Just passes on.
Right. In exile or whatever. So
with it's like students or family or whatever.
Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, I really like the story. I mean, trying to be more specific than just I like the story. I mean, it's well written. It's Ostrander, so it's everything you could want from him.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's kind of all I've got. I don't really know what else to add.
I can maybe try and add. I mean, I kind of gave most of my thoughts when we're talking about like Volfe and like Quinlan, but Ayla Secura, I think, is very interesting, compelling. Like her relationship with Quinlan, her being corrupted and brought back, it serves as a nice little arc for Quinlan.
Yep.
But I think what you were saying, Tidus, about like Quinlan doesn't really care or like doesn't really care about his past, doesn't really like care about being a Jedi, but like he still has that like master apprentice relationship with Ayla Secura, and that means enough to him to where he can like bring her back to the light side. I think it shows like his bond with her is like that strong.
I mean, his bonds. I mean, that's really what his character like becomes, and like what his character is the relationships, the friendships, are what define him.
Yeah,
like, his relationship with Ayla is like 1,000 times deeper than like his relationship with the Jedi Order. Like that's not even like me trying to like be subjective, but just like that's just supported by like the text. Like he's not as invested into the Jedi as he is Thom or Ayla. Now Thom, like, he's kind of a strained relationship with Thom, but you'll come around. We'll see.
Yeah, I think that's what makes, I guess, Quinlan so compelling. Like, Thom is so dedicated to the Jedi Order. He's like your atypical, like, I mean, I'm sure like he's unique in his own way, as we'll get to like him in like Republic, but like he's your atypical, like dogmatic, I'm dedicated to the Order, but he's still like friends with Quinlan. Like they're buddies, but like Quinlan,
that's practically his father, man. It's like, I mean, like he understands him in like ways that most like, presume to know Quinlan, you know.
But I think that's what makes the relationship so interesting. Is like you have Thom, who's this like hardened, like he's a Jedi's Jedi. He's your traditional dog, but he still views Quinlan like a son.
I mean, it's a triangular family dynamic. It's like as you keep reading, is that it's Thom, he's the father, then there's Quinlan, and then like there's Ayla. I mean, Ayla is kind of like a shared daughter of the two.
Mm-hmm. But the fact that Quinlan like puts personal relationships before like his like dedication to the Order is so it's the one of the most compelling parts about this comic. It kind of reminds me of like Luke's Order. Like Luke's Order, I mean, they still have their whole like dedication to like the Jedi mission, but like they have more freedom to have their own personal lives and kind of just like have their own personal freedoms and whatnot, and not be too attached to like the Jedi Order as a whole and its ideology. You can be a Jedi and still be like a personable, like, and have those relationships that matter. And I think like Quinlan having survived into the Order, like I understand that could have been interesting given his own philosophy. I think he would have fit right in with Luke's Order, given his own preference for personal relationships over the Jedi as a whole. Because I think Luke's Order puts more emphasis on personal commitment and personal relationships. So that's my whole take.
He probably would have been more happy under that.
Honestly, yeah. Like him and his wife, their kids, they would have been a lot more happy.
Wife and kids.
Just like King Ass Ripper.
Gosh. Don't look up who that is, dudes.
Don't for your own sanity. only real like hardened internet fiends like us.
Yeah.
We're the only ones that can see the fucking grace of Sean and like live.
Shut the hell up, dude. Anyway, moving on from that crap, from that garbage. I do want to say though, like when I read the ending of it, it reminded me a lot of Luke in Return of the Jedi, Luke and Vader. Got a lot of parallels to that, I felt. which was pretty cool. Well, there's nothing bad in this comic at all.
There
I think
really
we can all
isn't.
agree on that. There's nothing bad in this book.
I guess like Tidus. I mean, it's not really bad. Like the action feels a bit choppy. Feels like
I mean, I was just really saying it looks funny in some parts, and it's like that. I was complimenting it by saying like, I think that at times their Simmons like strength is like kind of her figures, like the way that the characters look.
Yeah.
But like some of the action is a coin flip if it's gonna like the best shit you're ever gonna see.
Yeah.
Or it's it's just kind of like it's it's okay.
And for the most part, it's all fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. It's an awesome book.
I also want to say I kind of felt like Quinlan's duel with Volpe Karko at the end feels very samurai-esque. Like one blow, and he cuts him in half.
I mean, no, it probably was inspired by like the samurai trope.
Yeah,
like
the samurai trope of
the anime slash trope.
Yeah, the anime slash. Be interesting. It could have like makes me think. Like I kind of wonder like Volpe Karko in the Clone Wars. I don't think he would have served under Dooku. I don't think he would have been part of Dooku's Dark Acolytes. But it's an interesting thought.
Yeah, he's like way too self-interested for that.
Yeah, he's just way too fucking like full of himself to care.
That's like the same thing like you were to pose like Xanatos from like Jedi Apprentice. Like Xanatos would never serve under like Dooku.
No. And I don't think Xanatos' son would even mean. Xanatos' son was the fucking gangster.
No, his son's a
Grant
bitch.
Omega.
His son's a bitch, bro. He probably would serve under Dooku. Like,
I mean, Grant Omega was fucking from like the fucking book where Yaddle dies. Fucking spoiler. Fucking Grant Omega is so fucking washed.
well, I mean, he's weak, but I'm just saying like he is so like he's so bitch made. I think he would jump over to the Dark Acolytes.
He probably grovel at Dooku's feet, and Dooku comes to like that planet.
It's because like Dooku could probably just easily manipulate him. Like he's like he's not like some stone fortress like minded ass person. Like
he's not like his father at all.
No, Xanatos doesn't have like a stone mind fortress, but like he's selfish. Like he's
Well, I think that's all we've got. Do you guys want to add anything else?
No,
I'm good.
I've covered nothing. Like I said, there's nothing bad about this comic. It is really good. Maybe the art isn't the best at times, but otherwise,
nothing.
It's like
nothing bad. That's like.
I mean, other from that, it's like a 9.9 out of 10. I'd say.
Yeah, let's say a 10 out of 10 even.
Yep, there's certainly a pretty much a core comic in the series, so definitely a must read. But yeah, that's all we got. So next episode, we're going to be doing Stark Hyperspace War along with the Deveronian version. We're going to do that in one episode. And the last episode before the Dark Times will be Rite of Passage. And then we'll be moving on to back to the actually reading Clone Wars stuff. How about that?
Yep.
Now I was kind of skimming through Stark Hyperspace War. It looks like it's a prequel.
Well, it's a frame story. It's like Ayla comes to the temple, and it's like because you remember she's an amnesiac too. She doesn't remember. Right. So they're recounting her a story that involved Quinlan.
I see. Interesting. Because I saw, I'm skipping through it, and I saw Qui-Gon in it, so.
Yep.
Very interesting. But anyway, I can't wait to read that. And unfortunately, Jusem is not the artist, so I don't really like the art just by looking.
I mean, the artist is not bad. He's not bad.
He's not bad, but he ain't.
I looked at the Stark Hyperspace, but the art's not terrible. It's not the best, but it's not.
Yeah, like, the Tony Stark Hyperspace War.
It's not like shit. I mean, it looks fine to me.
It's good art, but anyway, we'll say that for next episode. But anyway, that's all we've got. Thank you guys very much for watching. May the Force be with you. See you next time.
Peace.
Peace.